Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Aldas, and in today's video I'm going to be doing my final part of the rise and fall of Ferrari in Formula 1. Now, yeah, this has taken quite a long time to get here, but nevertheless guys, I am going to do the final part today. Now don't forget, if you have not checked out the first 4 parts, they will be either in the description or linked on the top right of the video, so I definitely recommend to go check those out before you watch this one. But anyway guys, don't forget, if you do enjoy the content on my channel and want to see more, don't forget to drop a like, smash that subscribe button, and check out my social media. Instagram and Twitter will be above. And guys, I also just really quickly want to say a massive thank you for getting me to 30,000 subscribers. So thank you guys so much. This is absolutely unbelievable, and honestly I'm just shocked. So yeah, thank you guys so much. But anyway guys, let's get into it. Now guys, the 2007 season would be a fresh start for Ferrari. Michael Schumacher had now retired, but in his place, Ferrari had signed Kimi Raikkonen to partner the established Felipe Massa. Now Kimi was one of the biggest F1 talents at the time, impressing in McLaren and even managing to challenge for the title in 2005 against Fernando Alonso. Now it's hard to actually summarise Ferrari in 2007 because on one hand they did manage to win the title with Kimi Raikkonen in his debut season for the team by a single point. Yes guys, at 1 point, that was all that was in it. And also as a team, they took a combined of 9 victories, 9 pole positions, showing that not only had they got a solid driver lineup, but the team had not lost any of its winning mentality or determination since the departure of Schumacher. But yet again, like a cold you can't shake off, Ferrari would be embroiled in yet another F1 controversy, this time with McLaren, in F1's very own espionage scandal. Yes, you honestly could not make this sort of thing up. In short, the controversy was centered around Ferrari technical information being leaked to McLaren, and whilst Ferrari weren't the ones being examined by the FIA, it would be McLaren who would be found guilty. However, it can't be overlooked that once again, for the 1000th time in Formula 1 history, Ferrari were yet again caught up in another F1 controversy. The 2007 season and the events surrounding Ferrari and McLaren could very well be its own video, but at the end of the season, major changes occurred to the structure of Ferrari that would greatly impact the team not only in the next few years, but arguably a decision that still impacts the team today. Now, the dream team that dominated with Schumacher had now completely dissolved. Jean Todt had left the team principal role, and although Ross Brawn was offered to take the reign, he declined and had left Ferrari for Honda. Now, the job was therefore given to Stefano Domenicali, and along with a new team principal, the entire structure and personnel was changed as well. There was now less foreign people at the Scuderia, and pretty much all the leadership was replaced with Italians. A change that arguably would cause more harm than good, even looking at how the Ferrari team is now. Now, Ferrari had managed to carry their momentum going into the 2008 season, but it would now be Felipe Massa who would step up to challenge the McLaren of Lewis Hamilton for the title. It would be another brilliant season with one of the greatest and most emotional title showdowns in history. In the end, despite Massa winning the final race of the season and actually in that second becoming the world champion, Hamilton managed to snatch the title away from Massa in the final corner of the final lap as he claimed the sufficient points that he needed to win it. Massa was understandably emotional and was actually dubbed the 42nd world champion. Either way, Ferrari, through consistency and a great driver lineup once again, had managed to win the Constructors' Championship, and in the end finished the season with 8 wins, 8 pole positions and 13 fastest laps. 2009, however, would be a dramatic year for Ferrari. Firstly, their car, the Ferrari F60, was ridiculously off the pace at the start of the season, as they didn't adjust to the new rules for 2009 as well as Brawn or Red Bull have done. The car was almost embarrassingly slow at the start of the season, actually. The team didn't even score any points in the first 3 races. The team did manage to develop the car throughout the season, but even still, they ended the 2009 season with only 1 win, courtesy of Kimi Raikkonen, and finished 4th in the Constructors. However, there's no doubt that the 2009 season for Ferrari anyway would mostly be remembered for the horrible crash that Felipe Massa had in Hungary during qualifying, when a broken spring from Ruben Barrichello's Brawn hit Massa in the head as he was doing 175 miles an hour. Now, Massa was alive, thank goodness, but sustained fractures to his skull and would even have to sit out the rest of the season, only making a return in December for a brief run by the team in Mugello to see how he'd recovered after the season had finished. Ferrari also had a complete driver reshuffle in 2009, with Massa being replaced with first Luca Badoa and then Vitantonio Liuzzi, both producing really disappointing results. However, as for their remaining driver, Kimi Raikkonen, now of course leading the team, he also announced that he would be leaving the team halfway through the year. Now, it was a really big shock, especially because he still had a contract, but some people speculated that since Ferrari had now acquired a Spanish bank called Santander for the 2010 season as a big sponsor, part of the deal would be that Fernando Alonso would race for the team. Now, these were just rumours and never actually confirmed, but with Raikkonen's announcement, Alonso's move to Ferrari was, although not confirmed, one of the worst kept secrets in the paddock. Pretty much everyone knew it was going to happen, and then of course the announcement came that it would be Fernando Alonso to partner Felipe Massa for the 2010 season at Ferrari. Now, the Alonso Ferrari era, in my opinion, is one of the biggest cases of what could have been for Fernando and Ferrari. He spent 5 years at Ferrari, the first 4 at the end of the V8 era, and then he left the team the following year in 2014 with the beginning of the V6 hybrid era. Now, focusing on the first 4 years, from 2010 till 2013, Fernando initially had a very good start to his Ferrari career and actually won his first ever race for them in Bahrain. Now, in those 4 years, Fernando and Ferrari managed to challenge for the title in 2 of them, in 2010 and 2012, where Alonso managed to take the title to a decider both times. Now, in my eyes, Alonso and Vettel were the 2 best drivers of that period because of their speed and consistency. And yes, it was Vettel who won 4 consecutive world titles with Red Bull, and in that time, I do commend him and his achievements because, contrary to what many people might say, I think Vettel proved that given the right car, he is untouchable. But to me, Alonso in those years was arguably even better. The Ferraris of those years were nowhere near as good as the Red Bulls. Nevertheless, Alonso produced some of his best races and dragged results out seemingly out of nowhere. 2012 was one of the best seasons in F1 history, in which Seb and Fernando again took the title down to a decider in Brazil. However, very early on in testing, it showed that Ferrari had produced a horrible car, with their drivers qualifying 12th and 16th in the first race. But Alonso, in what in my opinion was his best ever season, did what he does best, and heading into the summer break, he was leading the championship after 11 races, whilst his teammate Felipe Massa in the same car only managed to score points on 5 of the first 11 races, with the best finish of 4th. But once again, this period was just defined by Ferrari not being able to produce a car that would be good enough to win, but Fernando always seemingly got the absolute most out of them. It also must be said that Alonso was undoubtedly Ferrari's #1 driver, even with the help of his team taking a win away from Felipe Massa in the 2010 German Grand Prix in Hockenheim through team orders. The team were subsequently fined $100,000, but Alonso kept the win. And of course, one of the most famous radio messages in Formula 1 history, Fernando is faster than you. I mean, that is just an absolute classic, no doubt. Now, under the surface, tension between Alonso and the team began to show. Alonso, frustrated with Ferrari, could even be heard arguing with the team over team radio, like in the 2013 Italian Grand Prix. This, however, resulted in Alonso getting criticism publicly from the president of Ferrari, Luca de Montezemolo. And it was quite clear to us that with Fernando there, Ferrari were just starting to fall apart. Now, at the end of the 2013 season, with the new V6 hybrid era approaching, Ferrari, frustrated with the lack of results, decided to drop Felipe Massa. Massa was replaced by Kimi Raikkonen, of all people, for 2014, who made a surprise comeback ahead of the youngster Nico Hülkenberg, who was actually rumoured to have a contract with the team at the time. 2014, however, would not only be the final nail in the coffin for Alonso and Ferrari, but would also see the management change 3 times throughout the season. It was a disastrous year, as Ferrari only managed to take 2 podiums, courtesy of Fernando Alonso, and had their first winless season in 21 years. Now, as far as their management, try and keep up with me guys with this one. The team principal Stefano Domenicali was dropped after 3 races and then was subsequently replaced by Marco Mattiacci. However, Alonso and Mattiacci did not get on, and with the immense influence that Alonso had at Ferrari and the pressure of poor performances, Mattiacci's days at Ferrari were numbered. Then the president of Ferrari, Luca de Montezemolo, resigned from his post and was replaced by Sergio Marchionne as the future Ferrari chairman, who then in turn, only after 7 months, decided to replace Mattiacci with a new team principal, Maurizio Arrivabene. Boy, was that a bit of a mouthful right there. Now, adding on top of all of this Ferrari drama, Alonso at the end of the season decided to finally call it quits and left Ferrari for McLaren and was replaced with his arch rival Sebastian Vettel, the man that he had heavily criticised for the last 4 years, who would now have to take the reins at the famous Scuderia. So, in the end, it meant that for 2015, it would be Kimi Raikkonen partnered with the 4-time world champion Sebastian Vettel, with Maurizio Arrivabene as the team principal. As for Fernando's time at Ferrari, he achieved in the end 11 wins, 4 pole positions and 45 podiums. It was a case of the right move but clearly at the wrong time, and although there's no doubting that Alonso's talent as one of the F1 greats, his patience had snapped, and once again he and his inter-team politics had cost him. Luca de Montezemolo even saying a year later that, even though Fernando in his eyes is better than both Lewis Hamilton and Vettel, he had demotivated the team when the team were at their lowest. And to be honest, to me, in the end, I think Susie Perry said something that really, for me, just summarised Fernando Alonso at the time. He was still in love with winning a championship at Ferrari, just not in love with Ferrari. However, Ferrari would once again rise and reignite the passion that all fans have for the Italian team. With Sebastian Vettel, the team for 2015 had almost a new lease of life. Although it wouldn't be easy for Seb, he was the man that had been so heavily criticised by drivers, Ferrari themselves only a few years back, and most of the media as well, as only being able to win because of Red Bull. But yet, he proved all the doubters wrong, and in the first years in red, achieved their first win in 2 years, in only the second race of the season. And in his first season won 3 races and thoroughly had beaten his teammate Kimi Raikkonen. Ferrari, however, couldn't quite match the dominance of Mercedes, and actually for the 2016 season had another off year with yet again another year with no wins. However, with new regs for 2017, Ferrari would be back and would begin to mount a championship charge for the first time since 2012. For the next 2 years, Sebastian Vettel would go head-to-head against Lewis Hamilton and the might of Mercedes. But now, although Ferrari did have the car to compete, we'd start to see the cracks in Ferrari and Vettel, as in both years they would collapse to the Hamilton and Merc combination. In 2017, after a successful campaign with 5 wins, 5 pole positions and 20 podiums, that should have been enough to put the pressure on Lewis Hamilton, but in the end, the team that was craving for a chance to challenge for the title would blow it. Despite a strong start to the season and leading the championship going into the second half, it would be a mixture of errors from Vettel in Singapore and reliability problems for Ferrari in Malaysia and Japan that would cost them the title. And in 2018, it was, to be honest, more of the same. The team once again had a competitive package and arguably, in my opinion anyway, the fastest car when looking at the entire season. And although they finished the season with 6 wins and 6 poles and 24 podiums, they would once again fail to mount a sustainable championship challenge, as Hamilton, again actually as in the previous year, won the title with 2 races to go. In 2018, Ferrari did have the car, but the team couldn't make the hard decisions needed to win the championship with regards to their drivers. Vettel was the quicker driver and the only one that could challenge Hamilton, but the team just seemed inept to make tough decisions that were needed to fight for the title. Sometimes they would help Vettel completely for forgetting about Kimi Raikkonen, and sometimes they actually couldn't just have the guts to tell Kimi Raikkonen to move over to help the team in the title fight. The team just internally seemed like a mess, coupled with all the mistakes that Vettel began to make towards the end of the season, and the shocking death of Sergio Marchionne midway through the season as well. For one reason or another, it just, once again, it wasn't Ferrari's year, and it had now been more than 10 years since their last world title. However, big changes were made going into 2019. Of course, now Raikkonen was replaced with a young and fresh talent in Charles Leclerc. Maurizio Arrivabene was also replaced in favour of a long-time Ferrari man, Matteo Binotto. But even now, during the summer break of 2019, as I've just talked about the previous 2 years, although many people are blaming the car for Ferrari's lack of wins this season, and yet another year practically down the toilet, there's clearly something wrong. There's clearly something more to the story. The drivers, in my opinion, yes, have been making mistakes left, right and centre, and the team strategy sometimes is just beyond comprehension. But as bleak as it currently looks for Ferrari, I still believe there's more to come from them. Looking into the future, they have a great driver lineup in my opinion, with a young and hungry Charles Leclerc, who's only in his 2nd season in Formula 1 of course, and Sebastian Vettel, who in my opinion, contrary to popular belief, I still think he is a top driver and he's just looking for that next win to boost his confidence. But I think what's missing from Ferrari is some talented foreign individuals who can put aside the Ferrari heritage, internal and Italian politics, and the expectations of the Tifosi. The dream team that I talked about in the last episode that brought Ferrari 5 consecutive world titles with Michael Schumacher at the wheel seemed to rise above all the pressure that came with being at the team. Partly in my opinion because none of them were Italian, and of course they seem to have a ruthless winning mentality, something that in my opinion is currently missing. To kind of round the series off, I've talked about the entire Ferrari history from the start of Formula 1 up until 2019, but to end this, talking a little bit more about the future, I just want to say I really like Matteo Binotto. I can see the passion he has for the team and for the drivers in his eyes, but he still needs to complete the puzzle that is Ferrari before the team is ready to win titles again against the likes of Hamilton and Max Verstappen. So guys, there you go, that is it. That is the final part of the rise and fall of Ferrari in Formula 1. Now guys, wow, can't believe we are actually at the end. This has been a very long series, and I do just want to apologize that it was not, very it was not very timely. We started this all the way back in April, but nevertheless guys, I do just want to apologize. It was very difficult sometimes to get these out. I was very busy most of the time, and these take a lot of research. But anyway guys, I do hope you did enjoy it. Don't forget to check out all of the parts. I'll have them in a playlist, and also don't forget to check out all of my other rise and fall series that I have done on this channel as well. Anyway guys, hopefully, like I said, hopefully you did enjoy this video, and if you did, don't forget to drop a like, smash that subscribe button. Like I said, thank you so much for getting me over 30,000 subscribers. I honestly can't thank you guys enough, and I cannot wait to just keep making more content, and a very, very big announcement is coming to the channel very, very soon, so keep a lookout for that. And it is, by the way guys, for all those that stayed to the end of the video, a brand new channel announcement. I'm not going to say any more, but yeah, just keep an eye out for that. But anyway guys, also don't forget to check out my Instagram and Twitter. They will be above, and I will see you in the next one guys. Bye guys.